Howdy, and welcome to the veritable edge of Western civilization. I am your host, Dave and Alexander English, and we're in Venice Beach, California today. Love this place. Deep in the throes of the winter vibe, so I'm kind of using this berm to storm berm to kind of block the wind a little bit because I'm chilly. See, I'm all bundled up. I think I've got officially 6 layers on because this is what a wuss looks like when it comes to cold after spending so many years not in New England anymore. So if I sound a little weird, it's because there's this thing in the back of my throat, this big cancer tumor thingy, and it seems to be expanding a little bit. So one of the reasons why that is, apparently, I posted an article that I just happened to catch last week at like 3 in the morning, just before I went to bed. A fellow cancer survivor posted on their feed and I caught it, and it's a study that was done down in San Diego, University of San Diego, that said that cannabis, THC in your blood, can accelerate the growth of squamous cell carcinoma, and which is really freaking good to know because I had been trying to use Rick Simpson oil a couple of times, and somebody had just given me some, and I was about to try it out, and but no, there'll be no cannabis solution added to this thing, because I've been wondering why there were times when it felt like this was getting bigger, and apparently it was. So, and I kind of correlated that to the times when I had taken in THC over the past 4 months. So, so much for being a pothead. I was really looking forward to that, as you can probably guess. But maybe when I've finished curing myself, I can pick up my pothead career. Yeah, I'll roll up a fatty and blaze, as they say. I will blaze. And yeah, so good to know. And you know, there's some folks that wanted to debate it, man. I'm like, fuck that. I'm not here to debate. If something's working, it's working. If it's not helping, then I'm not doing it. I don't care what the politics are or whose pet panacea something may be. So when it's your turn, as I've said in the past, your opinion will matter. That said, as again, I'm really open to hearing any actual solutions, possible solutions, especially from cancer survivors. You know, a friend of mine who's a cancer survivor, she was like, whenever somebody offers their opinion, she's like, and how many cancer patients have you healed? Have you cured? You know, I think that's a really good metric. So what else is happening? I met with the physician's assistant, Nancy, last week when I got back, and for my journey up north, and she said overall I'm pretty healthy, and the actual tumor looks like it's more compact now. The thing is, for those that may not necessarily understand what's going on here, so I've got this big lump right there, and there's 2 more behind it. This is one of the 4 lymph nodes that are in the area, and the one that's closest to the skin is the one that's it's about as big as an egg, and it's got active cancer cells in it. And then in the back of my throat, there's on the right side, there's a tumor that extends down my throat, and it's always changing configuration, changing size and shape and all this sort of stuff. Unfortunately, that size change hasn't resulted in any reduction, which is not exactly good news. And so any slight growth, I feel it right away. I feel the effects right away. I don't have there's not a lot of wiggle room here. For one, this egg thing can press up against my Adam's apple, and then the thing in the back of my throat, it's kind of flappy tissue, and it makes it hard to breathe, especially at night when I'm trying to sleep. So I've become a mouth breather, and the only time I'm not is if I'm sleeping on my left side, which I can't do that all night long, but I do it as much as I can. But I'll still wake up and my mouth is all like bone dry, and then I have to like gargle with all sorts of stuff I'm using, like colloidal silver, frankincense, thieves oil, salt, was it Himalayan bamboo salt or something, and then warmed up. I just started that yesterday again, started that up again, and of course baking soda. So what was the other thing that's going on? Oh yeah. So, you know, I got this diagnosis 4 months ago, and ever since then I've been following through on trying to find out what sort of public assistance there is for someone in my situation, given that, you know, the treatment that's being offered, being recommended, is going to require me to undergo radiation and chemo for 10 weeks or so. And I know somebody that went through it last year, and I saw him on a regular basis, and I know what he went through, and it's not something that I would want to be around many people while I'm going through. And so I've been hoping to try to manifest some sort of, be able to get my own place somehow, and it looks like that's not happening as far as public assistance. I just had a meeting today with a case manager from St. Joseph's homeless outreach, and it turns out, when I got back here, my friend Rita set up a room for me to stay in while I'm here, trying to get my stuff in order. And apparently, because I'm staying in her house, that suddenly makes me, as opposed to sleeping on the sidewalk like that guy, if I had gone into the meeting and said, oh, I'm sleeping on the sidewalk, then I would be eligible for some sort of assistance. But because I'm not sleeping on the sidewalk, having given up the van because of the black mold a month ago, I'm not, they won't recommend me for any sort of assistance. It's taken 4 months to have a conversation with somebody that could actually just tell me what assistance there is available, which is, and then you wonder why there's a housing crisis here in Los Angeles. with 50 to 60,000 people sleeping on the sidewalk every night, not counting the people that are sleeping in vehicles. But luckily, you know, I have friends. I have more resources than the average bear, and my friend is kind enough to, you know, be making room for me in her house. I would really rather not, when we get down to the puking and retching part, I would really rather not have to inflict that on anybody else. But anyway, yesterday I did a scan with Heidi, a sensitive imago scan, and I got to tell you, so this is like a month after getting out of the bus, right? And this unit you're looking at right here, aside from the fact that I'm strangling myself to death, is really healthy. Just before this morning, I weighed myself. I weigh 177 pounds. I could see I almost felt like taking a picture. I could see my six-pack. So in general, the scan yesterday was really, really good. Probably the best I've had, actually. You know, it rates all the data points in all your organs and systems and everything on a scale on a color scale, and black being the worst, white being the best, and in between it goes white, yellow, green, red, blue, black. And there were no blues and blacks. There were only a handful throughout my whole system. There were only a handful of reds, and we treated them. And like my brain, my heart were mostly yellow and white. And so this is good to know, primarily because it says my pancreas was really good. My liver was pretty good. So what this says, and the spleen was good too. What this says is it's not spreading. It's still not spreading, thankfully. So it's still contained in these two places. So that's encouraging. I'm probably doing about 5 or 6 different protocols right now, all geared towards either directly attacking the cancer or trying to get my system to attack the cancer. And by short-circuiting the mechanisms in the viruses that make the virus and the cancer invisible to my system. Still, there's some protocols, like there's this stuff called GC math, and which entails making you can go online and there's a YouTube video of a brother showing you how to make this yogurt, and then you add things to the yogurt and eat about 2 cups of that a day. And we've been kind of hung up on the yogurt production because we haven't actually been getting yogurt. We've been getting more like kefir, and I'm not sure if that affects the efficacy of the GC bath production, but supposedly this is something that your body makes naturally, and the virus and the cancer secretes something that suppresses the production of that. And but once it's produced in your system, once you have a certain quantity of that in your system, it just naturally goes and attacks cancer cells. So we'd be at that. There's what is this? A just started something else. Yeah, okay, so there are these black pills that have something to do with like algae and fish and whatnot, and I didn't really do all the research myself on it, but my friend Rita did the research, and she said, here, try this. So, you know, I'm on day 4 of that, and I'll tell you more about it the next week. Fenbendazole, I was in contact with my friend Jimmy Rodenizer, who recommended this to me about a month ago. I started it a month ago, and I was like, I haven't really seen any kind of change or effect. And he said, well, just double the dose. I was like, duh, yeah, okay. So I started doubling since, what is today? Today is, I think, today's Tuesday. I don't know what the date is. Oh yeah, the 21st of January, 2020. And so it's been almost exactly 4 months since the diagnosis. And we've to some degree plateaued as far as the GoFundMe page campaign goes. There, you know, for about a month there, I hadn't, you know, I'd gotten maybe 2 or 3 donations. But then after last week when I posted one of these, you know, I got probably about another 5 or 6 donations. And thank you to everybody, all the angels that are rooting for me. I still don't have any car and housing solution through the possible radiation chemo. So what's happening with that is that we've scheduled a PET scan for next week. I mean, excuse me, for next month, middle of next month, and then just, you know, to check my progress, but also to prepare for starting up the radiation chemo probably at the beginning of March. And if I don't see any significant essentially reduction in either of these in the next month, we're just going to have to go ahead and go through with the chemoradiation option, because as you know, a little over a month ago, I spoke with one of the leading oncologists in the country. His brother that has treated over 10,000 patients with what I have, and he said that if you're going to do the treatment, there's actually no point in waiting, and in fact, it makes it harder if it moves into the next stage. So right now we were staged at after the last PET scan 2 months ago in November, beginning of November, at between stage 2 and stage 3. So we don't want it to get any more. Luckily, like I said, it's not, as far as I know, it's not spreading, but it is. It is becoming more of a thing, man. I got to tell you. I mean, just before I had to actually wait about an hour to shoot this because I was coughing up some blood, and then you know, there's a lot of pain because the cancer has moved onto my tongue, the back of my tongue, and like I said, if I sound a little weird, my voice sounds weird, that's why. And when it got onto the back of the tongue, that corner, there's like these nerves that are all connected up into this side of your head. And so there are times when I'll eat and it's just a lot of pain. So, and like I said, there's not a lot of space. There's not a lot more space that this thing can grow without seriously impacting my ability to breathe or my ability to eat, or talk or anything like that. And I'm not, it's possible that the bleeding is from, as I've said in the past, it may be because it's, something fall off, or it's also possible that it's bleeding because the cancer grew in a direction where there was a blood vessel, and so now we got another thing to deal with. So yeah, this is the reality, and these are the things I'm weighing, and I'm trying to navigate. Let's try to navigate. So you may have noticed I just trimmed my beard, and it feels really good. I usually like to trim on the full moon or new moon or something, but I just felt like, I don't know, today was just like, I just need to get rid of this. I like it really short like that. My friend John Riley and his son Xander, they've been going through a challenge. Xander's been diagnosed with Crohn's disease, and they've just started treating him for it. And the diagnosis took a while to get down to it, but the treating took a while because they had an abscess that needed to treat first, because the actual Crohn's treatment is, I think it's a form of steroids, and it suppresses the immune system. And anyway, he just started being able to eat food this week after a month of eating supplements, and he's going to get out of the hospital hopefully this week or next week. And the reason I'm telling you this is because one of my main reasons for coming back here was to set up the live streaming channel, and Xander's actually going to build the computer that will be on 24 hours a day to do the live streaming channel. So that's his and my project, and I'm really excited to get into, and he'll be able to do that once he gets out of the hospital. So that's what's up with that. And yeah. So what else? Thanks again to Heidi for being able to see me this week. And I don't know that we really, I don't think there's much more that, luckily my system's in such good shape, other than the cancer, that the treatment options that she has can help with, because it's not really showing up in the scans. So either I'm getting better and all the bleeding and the pain and stuff is a sign of that, or that technology is not working and I'm seriously fucked, and we all need to run for the hill. No, just kidding. So I don't get to be a pothead. Wah. I was really looking forward to it, and but that's the way it goes. Anything else? I think that about covers it for now. Oh yeah, the books. Books are coming along really well. It's very exciting to be finally completing those projects. And I'll tell you more about it the next time we get a chance to speak. Meanwhile, just gonna steady on, and I hope I look healthy to y'all. And I love it when I tell people about what's happening, they're like, "Oh, you got this." Yeah, I may have it, but there's the in-between times, you know, the middle of the night when you wake up coughing and spitting and stuff. I guess that's the having of it, right? Again, as I said before, I don't feel that I'm saying much new here, but I just wanted to connect and let you know the latest developments. You know, I do not feel like a victim. I'm not afraid of dying, and I embrace what's happening as my shamanic journey, wherever it takes me. And I'm really glad to. That was one of my beard hairs. I'm really glad to have seen what I've seen, you know, in dealing with all these social services and whatnot. You know, being a person of sound mind, I could only imagine what it would be like for somebody who was in my situation, but didn't have, you know, their shit together. But here's the thing, right? If you weren't of sound mind and you had cancer and you're sleeping on the sidewalk, they would just, you know, fast track you into a house, or housing, whatever, Section 8. You know, the crazy people, you know, if you have a crazy diagnosis, they'll do what they can to bend over backwards to make room for you. But if you're just not crazy and not sleeping on the sidewalk, then you're on your own, and that's okay. It's good to know. It's good to know. You know, it's all information. So, there. So we come to my favorite part of this little ritual, the part where I get to beam you some love. Here we go. This is me beaming love at you. So there, take that. Remember, we love you.